And I'm getting a black screen when I'm trying to record. Why am I getting a black screen when I try to record? Come on, come on. Is it just that it's being laggy? I don't know what's going on. Hey, here we go. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Got a little laggy there for a second. So anyway, so this is the initial page. There was a couple pages before that where you set up your neutrality, your resources and all that stuff. But when you go into initially into a custom game, you really don't have the ability to change anything really except for your neutrality. So I kind of just skipped that altogether because you can't really do much other than just go check mark, green check mark, green check mark, green check mark. But what we're going to do is we're going to go into all the options here on the screen, including order of battle and a few other things. And yeah, we'll go from there. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go with what's all up here at the top of the screen as I move us around. So with that in mind, the first thing we are going to look at up here is our resources. So we have energy, which right now is sitting at 41,000. You'll notice that it says it changes by plus 4,880 a day. We're producing almost 64,000 energy a day. We're currently converting 261 of that, but we're using roughly 1,300. The converting is basically what's used to convert into your other resources, your supplies and your fuel and stuff like that. Next one is our metal. Actually, let's go over energy. Energy production covers various sources of energy, but is mainly coal. Energy is required to produce IC, or industrial capacity, which we'll get into soon. Metal. Heavy industry requires various metal ores. Although this is primarily iron ore, these are used to produce IC. Yet again, industrial capacity. You need all four of these things to produce industrial capacity. So here we have a change by a positive increase again of 956,000, so 960,000 every day. You'll see that it even says 0.22. Believe me, those periods and decimal points play a big role later on. Overall, we're producing about 1,500 a month, or at the moment, sorry, in our home territory, and we're using 611. Rare materials. Rare materials cover a spectrum of materials essential for war production, including natural products like rubber and less common materials like chromium. These are essential for the production of IC. Again, industrial capacity. Changes. 93 every day. Overall, at home, we're producing 398. We're using 305. And crude oil. Crude oil is the essential of any modern army to produce. However, it must be first be refined into usable products. So this is basically oil straight out of the ground. Changes by, right now we're at a negative, so 984 a month, a day, sorry. We're producing at home only 21, and we're converting 784 into fuel, and 78.44 of that also is being converted into fuel as well. Now, and sorry, IC as well. Now, you'll notice here is our industrial capacity, or IC. Industrial capacity is the production capacity of your industries. Base IC is the amount of IC in your provinces. Available IC is the base total modified by technology ministers, etc. Wasted IC is the amount allocated to allocated in excess if needed. Each IC needs 2 energy, 1 metal, and half a rare material every day. That's for 1. So theoretically, right now, if we were to get rid of everything, we have enough for... We're only producing 2120 a day. So since we only need half, or 0.5, we can have, what, 0.5, so that's half. We double that, 42, we'll say, be on the bright side, be on the easy side. 42... because it's the most amount we're doing. So roughly around 42, double that, so 80 something. Now we can definitely augment all this by trades and things like that, which we'll get into. So right now, our wasted IC is 950. Our base industrial capacity, the minimum amount we can use, is 144, so it's close. And the available amount we have is 1,569. That will change almost instantly. Now, below that are your modifiers. That's from your politics, your technology. Yeah, pretty much your politics and your technology. Actually, it's pretty much it. The only thing that really changes these things. So from improved technology, we're getting a plus 10 to our base industrial capacity. We have the silent workhorse buff as well, which is a plus 5%. War economy, plus 25%. And a very easy difficulty, plus 950%. Basically, what you want to look at is these two, this number right here and this number right here. If we went to the production tab real quick, you'll see this is this number right here. So this is always going to be what you can do. Now you'll see those little arrow, because this, all this stuff, leads into this, which leads into this. So, these are supplies. Supplies cover everything a modern army needs to fight, except Poland. That's right, except Poland. Although, perhaps most important of all is ammunition. Supplies are produced by industrial capacity. So right now we're producing about 2,000 every day, and well, 2,100. We're using 4. What you usually do as Germany early in the game is produce tons of supplies and sell them to everybody. You make money, but then you also use it to bring in oil, which then you can use to modernize your military and slowly make your plans to get that rich, juicy oil from the Balkans and southern Russia down there. And then we obviously have money. And here's fuel, which is obviously petroleum. Petroleum, oil, and lubricants are refined from crude oil. Oh. Wait, that's what Pol is. Oh, never mind. I always thought that meant Poland. Because I never actually read these. So, here we go. Fuel. Petroleum, oil, and lubricants are refined from crude oil. All motorized units, aircraft, ships need this to operate effectively. So if you actually have a majority of an infantry force, fighting force, you can actually skip out on a lot of this crude oil, prioritize infantry, and just go hog wild with infantry. It's actually quite entertaining. When you see a country, you can tell if a country's going to have issues with it, which we will short term. So a lot of things we're going to do short term is actually build up an infantry fighting force. Not so much the modern mechanized force that Germany was when the war first started. Because most people don't realize is the Germans were using horses even during the invasion of France. Their armored corps was not the massive, beefy thing that most people think of until later on in the war, actually. That big, massive mechanized thrust that they did into France, I think it wasn't even a full army, like it wasn't even an actual army group. It was a couple, I think it was like 1 or 2 divisions, just busted through, and they were smart with what they had. So here is our manpower. So your army needs currently 0 manpower to reinforce, and we're using 0 right now. We're gaining 72.7 troops a day. Our base value is 400, and right now, so that gives us a plus 4 to the amount we're gaining every month. Now also, politics and technology also give you, obviously, more, kind of buffs and changes to your manpower. So right now we have, from technology, we have a plus 40% buff or bonus to our manpower every month, and then we also have a plus 950% increase from manpower for for the very easy difficulty. I told you I get that little tweak. The next part we have is diplomatic influence. This represents our pool of trained foreign service professionals that we can use for diplomatic missions. Basically, just means this gives you, these are kind of like tokens. We produce X amount a month to be able to go and do trade deals, declare war, put in, like basically when you go to put in, when you want to take a country, you can select conquer and things like that. Basically, it gives you the ability to talk to other countries. So right now, it's being changed by plus 3 every month, and it's usually it's leadership driven. And you see, minus negative lost from influencing other nations. You can actually influence other countries over time, and that actually takes some of your diplomatic power, which makes sense. This is espionage. This represents not just spies, but the entire infrastructure supporting them. These people are trained in the underhanded arts of espionage and will aid us in our attempts to subvert countries and protect our own. Basically, this is how many spies you have. Steal technology from other countries. We'll get into that when we get into the intelligence tab down here. But you can do a whole bunch of stuff, and if you're sneaky and underhanded enough, you can do something like getting France to leave the Allies. So England and its little petty satellite countries that it all has puppeted will only go to war with you. So you'll go to war basically with almost half of Africa, England itself, Newfoundland and Labrador over here, a little bit of the Middle East, India, and a couple other little areas and islands and stuff like that. And you can run roughshod over England so quickly in that case. It gets kind of entertaining. What's next here? Officer ratio. As the ratio of officers and NCOs to enlisted men falls below 100%, our units become increasingly likely to fall apart in combat if they take too many losses. So, basically, it says it right now, we have 20,282 officers covering 172 brigades, ships, and wings. Wings are aircraft, basically. Different types of units require different numbers of officers, but the proper ratio we need is at least 14,480. So it tells us we're basically 7,000 over what we need. We need at least 14,480 officers. Every day, we're educating another 30 officers. So right now, if we wanted to, we could cut out our production of officers, and we will go into that a little later too. Dissent. The short-term unhappiness of your people. This could be reduced by increasing the supply of consumer goods to the civilian economy. If ignored, this will start to diminish support of the ruling parties. Basically, dissent is basically just how your people are. If your dissent's really shitty, especially if it's usually it's shitty in areas like Conquer, like say we took over France and the Low Countries, you'll see it when we go to the revolt tab, which is right here, revolt risk. If we went to it right now, you'll see it's green across the board. But you'd see like red, yellow, and all that stuff. As you are in a country longer, basically people just get more complicit with you. But you can get uprisings. The more your dissent increases, it affects your industrial capacity because people are kind of sabotaging your industry, as you can think about it. It starts affecting your other stuff internally to the country, and it can have quite a bad little impact. And last but not least, national unity. This is a big one. National unity represents the willingness of your people at the top to prosecute a war to the finish. The higher the value is, the longer we will fight on before considering surrender and government in exile. Basically what that means is right now 89. We'll go into the victory point mode. See everything green. Here, 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 etc., etc. These are all victory points. If France decided to invade us right now, they would have to capture 89% of these points, and then we might surrender. I say might because it's never guaranteed. Usually, though, the game takes about a day or two to click over if you hit them all. So, for example, France has a very, very low national unity at the beginning of World War II. If I think it's like 40 or 50%, we could actually push right through here and capture almost all of this here, including the oh my god, I forgot what the name of this defensive line is. The Maginot Line. If we push through, capture the entire Maginot Line, Paris, and a bunch of other stuff, they'd surrender pretty much. That's one reason why they collapsed. Because they just didn't want to fight. They didn't want to have another war on their hands and all that stuff. So, that's one thing that you always have to take in consideration is a country's national unity. The higher it is, the longer the war is going to last. So one thing you can do, which, for the record, is one thing I will do, and I always do, is I use my military and actually basically chip away at a country's national unity before I invade them. I also try to do all this political intrigue and stuff to kind of morally disrupt the country and slowly beat the country down emotionally. And then, basically take it over internally from the inside out. And then, as a last resort, invade. I've puppeted a couple countries. I don't like doing that though, I will admit. Unless the country's just something I just don't want. There's a couple countries you'll learn over time that you're just like, I just don't need you. But yeah, so that's all those options. So now we have all our tabs here. We've got obviously this one here, which is your date, time. You'll notice that it says 0.0.001 January 1900. If you've ever played Europa Universalis or CK2 or Victoria 2, you'll notice that it actually does not go hour by hour. It goes day by day. I'm not too sure about Victoria 2. I think it might go hour by hour too. I'm not 100%. But where a game of EU4 or CK2 will last several hundred years, even possible like 1,000 years or so, because you go day by day, this game actually goes by hour. Yeah. So you can actually sit there and move your troops around, because, to be honest with you, you could run an armored corps, an armored unit, theoretically, from, say, Luxembourg all the way to Brest in a couple days. So you actually could see the unit moving its way across real quick. Well, back in the day with the U4 and things like that, those games, because you're using basically men walking around, it takes them a long time to move around. So there you go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another cut in this video here, because we're going to go into each detail of each of these tabs. So our diplomacy, production, technology, politics, intelligence, in theaters. This is the shortcut. Basically, this is the stats page, and our theater and our what the hell is this button? I forgot what this button is. But I can't remember. And then what these are here, and then we're going to get into the fun stuff of order of battle, which is this stuff right here. This is the biggie. This right here, and all of these guys on the map. And then we're also going to get into all our options here and the planning stuff. This stuff, I will tell you now, is awesome and fun. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you guys on the battlefield next time. Bye bye.